Welcome to the Five. President Biden is up north in Canada and trying to impress his pal, Justin Trudeau, on what Biden sees as a big foreign visit. But his real problems are piling up back here at home. Joe Biden is tired of putting up with Kamala's endless embarrassments. Democratic sources revealing how Joe is irked by his vice president not, quote, rising to the occasion. A former White House official says that, quote, a fear of messing up has led Harris to be late to the game on important issues, adding that a point of tension in their relationship is that the president sees her as somebody who takes anything off of his plate. Joe Biden is also concerned about Kamala's ability to beat Donald Trump, which is apparently a factor on whether he decides to run again. And if Joe wants Kamala off the ticket, it looks like it's too late.
Our Joe Biden has said he intends to run, and if he does, I will be running with him.
Joe Biden has said he intends to run for re-election as president, and I intend to run with him as Vice President of the United States.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop.
Okay.
Hi.
So there you have it. Hi, Sandra. Good to have you here at the table. You know,
we didn't do the introductions.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's do it. Welcome to the Five. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro, and with us is Greg Gutfeld.
Yes.
Sandra Smith. Jesse Waters.
Richard
Tyler.
Richard
Tyler.
Fowler.
And this Fowler. And this is the Five. Thanks, guys. I really screwed that up. Richard Fowler. You know what? I owe you one, Richard.
She does. She's buying me a nice pair of shoes.
Okay. All right. So here we go. That's what happens when they change the teleprompter. All right.
Canada.
So here we are, Richard Fowler. I'm going to go to you first, Richard Fowler. And I'm going to say that for the rest of the show. So I never say Richard Tyler again. All right. You know, we've heard reports that Kamala's complaining that she doesn't get enough of the real serious stuff to do. And yet it sounds like the president is saying she doesn't take some of the pressure or some of the weighty stuff off his plate enough to help him out. What's the truth?
Look, I always hate these stories with anonymous sources. I hated it during the Trump administration. I hate it now when you have, like, close sources to the president, an anonymous who only decided to speak on the story because they were anonymous, so we don't know who he or she was, so they can say whatever the hell they want. And so I have a problem with that. And look, I say this. We are about a year and a couple of months away from this election, and a lot can happen in that time frame. This time in 2021, there was a conversation about a red wave that didn't happen. I think what's working in the vice president's favor is time. And I think we're going to have to wait to see what happens. And I think while we're talking about the president and the vice president, it's also worth pointing out that we do not know who the Republican nominee is going to be, and there's going to be a bitter fight on the Republican side. So before we could figure out who's facing who or who's going to be on the Democratic ticket, we also have to figure out who's going to be on the Republican side. So there's a lot of things that has to happen. So I'm not making any predictions yet, and I think the American people need to wait to see, because they haven't even had a vote on anything yet.
All right, Jesse, in Tuesday's last Monmouth poll, Biden was at 41% approval. And we heard that Biden was going to announce after Christmas. Then he was going to announce after the midterms. After the midterms, after Christmas and State of the Union. And it's still not official. Why do you think he's dragging on that decision?
He doesn't have to rush it. And he may be waiting to see what's going on with these investigations. He doesn't look that healthy. If you just saw him out there with Trudeau, he seemed exhausted. And this wasn't a trip to Asia or Europe. This was just over the border north. So I guess Jill and Joe have decided, but they have not formally announced. You know, a lot goes into these things. It's like a lot of pomp and circumstance. He was just over in Europe going, you know, behind enemy lines to Ukraine. It takes a lot for a guy who's 80 years old to get it going. And he's traditionally had a hard time making decisions. I expect him to announce. He will announce. And he will announce now with Kamala Harris as his running mate. Because if you remember in the beginning of the year, there was a lot of momentum to peel that woman off the ticket. And it wasn't just an anonymous source here. There were people on the record suggesting that they peeled this woman off the ticket. It looks like they've now resigned to themselves to the fact that she is staying on this ticket and you are stuck with Kamala Harris. And Joe Biden is stuck with Kamala Harris. And this Reuters piece tells me that Joe's saying, I'm tired. I need a little help. And she's not helping. Maybe he helped Barack Obama more than she helped him. But it's not just on the policy issues. She's not even schmoozing. One of these sources says she doesn't even go out to dinner and have drinks in Washington and make friends. Like, the establishment isn't even thrilled with her. So the donors don't like her. The establishment doesn't like her. She's less popular than Joe Biden. I think she's at 36%. So this is a marriage of convenience at this point. They're stuck with each other, and it's going to hang over their heads for a long time, because an 80-year-old, everyone's going to look past them.
You know, Sandra, what Jesse's saying is very true. I mean, shouldn't Democrats be alarmed at the fact that, you've got the president and the vice president? She isn't doing, some of the more visible issues and going out there on issues and proposing solutions. And we know that they don't really get along. And, why aren't more Democrats stepping up to the plate when they realize Joe's numbers are bad? A few months, I think it was a month ago, we heard that there were a number of Congress people who anonymously didn't want Joe to run. I mean, what's taking the Democrats so long to say, you know what, these two are not what we need in the party?
She sits down in friendly interview situations. On the global stage, she has laughed at major crises that this administration has on its plate right now. She's struggled to define the role of the vice presidency in a very recent friendly interview as well. If you were to strip politics out of it, though, and just look at this as the first female in the White House, and as a woman watching, no matter what her decisions are, what her politics are, you sort of hope that you would see a strong leader in the White House, first female leader in the White House. So a lot of people are looking at the fact that I just ran this by my team. I said, what day was it that she was named the border czar by Joe Biden? Guess what? We looked it up a minute ago. March 24th, 2021. I mean, think about that. 2 years she's been the border czar, and we have seen a surge at our southern border this country has never seen. When was the last time you saw her talk about it or visit the border or address this as a growing, very serious situation? Look, I'll say this one last thing because I know Greg wants to get in here. But you've got single moms all over this country who are taking on second jobs to pay for their kids' education, pay for their kids' sports, to pay the grocery bills. They're not happy. That Wall Street Journal poll that came out today, people are not happy in this country, and they're worried about the future of their children in this country. And they look at the leadership in the White House. They don't see these two out there really tackling the major issues. And that is going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for these guys. It's going to be a problem for the party come the presidential election. You know, Greg, in terms of foreign policy, Biden only has an approval rating of 39%. Now, we just heard him talking about China and Russia, and now we've got him up in Canada. Isn't that something that is very, very worrisome to most Americans?
Well, it is kind of scary, while the Chinese president's meeting with Putin, our president is, up in the attic with Justin. It's like while Darth Vader and the shark from Jaws are planning to kill us, he's seeking help from Bambi. I mean, it's just like those two versus the other two. It's a little frightening. It's pretty funny, Joe, saying that Kamala isn't someone who takes anything off his plate. Would you? I mean, all he eats is cream of wheat and kaopectate. Nothing good there. She's supposed to be less popular than him, by the way. That's the reason why he's still in office, right? But it's interesting. The criticism about her has subtly shifted. Now they're saying she doesn't rise to the occasion. She doesn't... She had this competence, but it hasn't been shown, right? So what that does is it takes the stink off Joe, right? Because Joe assumed she was capable. So it's on her for not stepping up. That's different than saying, I screwed the pooch by, hiring this cackling deadbeat. But her speech patterns are going to be studied by scholars for centuries because she's able to use words as punctuation and pauses, but never uses words as words. This is amazing. She's able to pad the thinnest gruel with linguistic helper. It's amazing. If she had a richer vocabulary, she might get away with this, but she doesn't, so she has to keep using the same words over and over again, like she's padding a term paper. I find it highly entertaining. I'm only mad that we couldn't listen to more of that presser.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.